This is TNC Movie Nights. Back, fresh month. We don't have any super blockbusters to do every single week. So we're going to start the month out like we usually do, with a nice little update on some news that may be kicking around the Cineverse. But until then, Brandon, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Just got off of work. It was a rough day. I'll be pretty honest. Systems kept going down. It was a really long day. But I'm just glad to be done. Glad to talk some movies now. How about you, Alex? How you doing?
Doing all right. Doing all right. I'm also ready to talk some movies. It feels like it's been a while since we did a movie news episode.
It's been
Things
a month.
Well, yeah, I guess that is the case since we do it every single week. That's the kind of day it's been. I'll just say that. Oh, man. Are there any of these topics that you want to start out with first? Any things that are titillating you the most? That's a $5 word there.
Let's go ahead and start with Knives Out, because everything else is pretty much superhero related. I think it'll be nice kind of starting out with this, and because I know both of us are really excited about this, just because we love Knives Out, the first one, of course.
Yeah, definitely. I know you were a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of it. And with that in mind, apparently a lot of people were big fans of it because Netflix decided that they were going to drop almost $500 million to just buy the franchise, which means that we are going to get 2 more Knives Out movies, 2 sequels. They'll be coming out in who knows when. But we will have Daniel Craig back and director Rian Johnson. They're both returning, so that'll be nice. We'll get to see both of them. Well, I guess we don't really get to see Rian Johnson. We get to see the work of Rian Johnson, which was great for Knives Out. But yeah, I'm excited about this. How are you feeling?
I really love the first one, and I even think that I believe we reviewed it pretty early on in our shows, and I honestly want to say that this is a movie I didn't want to see any sequels for. It's one of those movies that just ended so perfectly. It was a great movie, and if they tried to push out sequels, it might feel a little cash grabby, and it might not have that same special feel of the first one. So that does kind of worry me a little bit there. Daniel Craig I thought was great. He was a lot of fun in the last movie, and I'm sure they'll have a really good cast for it as well. Going on to Netflix, it just kind of worries me because I really didn't want a sequel for this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I think they really hit it out of the park on that one. But I think a way they could make it work is, so far they've only confirmed actor-wise that Daniel Craig is returning and not the whole family.
Yes.
So I almost wonder if they're going to have a sequel but a very distant story where it's like we follow Daniel Craig and only Daniel Craig.
I
like
think
this
so.
is his next case. And then that way that nice complete beginning, middle, and end story can stay ended. They don't have to try to, stretch it out like, ooh, what happened after she lived in the house? Did the family try to if we see 2 more movies of the family like trying to get their house back, I feel like it's going to be really, kind of crappy. But I'd be interested to see if they went, okay, that story's done. Thank you, everybody. And they get a brand new ensemble cast, and then they keep Daniel Craig, and this is like the next case after that. So we just kind of get another whodunit. And if it stays, Knives Out was spectacular, and there were a lot of twists and turns, and a lot of them were weird and funny and goofy, but in a really well done and clever way. So if we like keep it that way without doing a copy paste sort of thing, I don't know. They got a tough road ahead of them, but I'm cautiously optimistic, and I hope that we can see some fun whodunits in our future. But again, there's no release date. I don't even think they started writing them yet. I think this was literally just Netflix just dropped like $450 million. We want to buy the rights to 2 more of these movies, and we'll get Daniel Craig and Rian Johnson back for them. So who knows?
Yeah,
How would we talking about this?
Yeah, I can definitely agree. I don't think there's much in the works yet for it. I would much rather this be following Daniel Craig in his next case. I guess my real concern about that, because I'll be honest, I don't even think about them possibly doing more of the past characters. Mm-hmm. And my main concern is, we didn't expect all the twists and turns in the first one, and now we're going to be expecting a lot of twists, turns. We're not going to trust anything in the movie because they already did it so well the first time that we trusted people so quickly. Mm-hmm. And made us believe that the good person did it and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's what kind of worries me. How much more can they twist and turn us to actually make it believe, especially for 2 more movies?
Very fair. That was a very fair concern. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm sure we'll be talking about this on several more news episodes. You know, 6 months from now when they announce the major cast, and then a year from now when
Trailer.
they wrapped filming and drop the trailer, and or however long it takes. You know, I'm sure Netflix is going to be putting their foot down on the gas on this one, though. You don't drop almost a half a bill to just kind of sit and wait.
Yeah, this won't come out in 3 years. This will come out in the next year and a half.
Which is another thing to kind of worry about, you know, if they're really putting their foot down hard on the gas here, if they don't have anything for it yet, might just be something that they have to push out just to make the studio happy, which in the history of filmmaking has almost literally never worked out. There's like 2 movies whose stories involve, yeah, we just had to slap this together because the studio was on our ass, and then like 2 of the 400,000 movies like that were like, oh, I can't believe it worked. And the other were like, you remember that piece of crap that came out that completely tanked the franchise? That would be great.
I will say, because it's Netflix, they can come out whenever they want, of course. They don't have to go through like the blockbuster times. I don't think they'll really do that. So I'm not personally too concerned on that aspect of it. I do think it'll be a year and a half just because Netflix has so much money to draw.
That's a fair point. I mean, they do. They have like all of the money that Disney doesn't have. So, I mean, I guess that you're right that it's not like this is going to be the make or break for them. That's a pretty solid point. Outside of that, like you said, we do have mostly superhero news, but that's because those are pretty much the only movies that are coming out right now, other than, you know, a couple Godzilla flicks, I guess. Let's start with some of these trailers that we've been seeing. Actually, you know what? Before we get into the trailers, we just have to announce that Venom and Mortal Kombat both got pushed back. I think Mortal Kombat was only like a week, though, right?
They were both only a week. I don't understand that. I really don't understand how your possible planning, or did they lose a week in their production and that's why they're having to do it? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me in how you're just going to move a movie back just 1 week. Because truly, I mean, like, sure, when it comes to certain things in life, I can understand how a week is a lot of time, but like in a movie business, usually, for my knowledge, the movies are already like done, wrapped up couple months before, so they can go through the marketing process, so they can do the trailers, so they can get the hype of the movie. How is a week going to affect anything? If anything, just cut down a week of marketing rather than pushing it back 1 week. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But again, we don't know everything in the movie world on how everything works in a schedule, so maybe there's a lot more that has to be done in that week.
I almost wonder if they had some like showings, you know, they like release them in small batches and get like focus groups out to see, holy crap, this movie was great, but this ending was terrible, we gotta go change it in post and all that stuff. I wonder if maybe there was an end credit sequence or something, or some dumb thing that was universally hated, and they were like, let's maybe make this come out next week and we can just and get rid of that or change that. I have no idea, though. This is just wild speculation because, like you said, we just don't know. So, I guess we'll just have to wait 1 more week. We're still gonna review Mortal Kombat this month, though. Comes out in 2 weeks. We'll do that basically how we did the Snyder Cut and Kong Godzilla. We'll all get together. We might have a couple special guests for that one as well, and really go through this. We're not going to be doing watchathons, though, because especially with brand new movies, they really, really like to not have anyone else show anything anywhere. So, to avoid any copyright strikes, we're just going to talk about them.
Yeah, a little bit easier.
Yeah. I think those are the only 2 pushbacks we got, though. This isn't like COVID 6 months ago where everything was just, you know, year and a half, 6 months, 8 months. No pushbacks like that. It was just sweeping up the floor a little bit, final checks before they release them, I guess. But, as we said, we also have some trailers that came out. 2 of them fairly recently. One of them last month, but we hadn't really talked about it yet. So, let's hit that one first. The Suicide Squad trailer, the James Gunn Suicide Squad. I think we had kind of different opinions on this one. Or maybe not different, but this made us feel a little bit different. So why don't you start? How did you feel about the Suicide Squad trailer?
So, I am a little concerned. I don't think it looked great. However, I didn't think Guardians of the Galaxy would look great. And James Gunn did a really good job of taking characters no one cared about, some misfit, not even B-list characters, honestly, probably like D-tier characters in the Marvel Universe, and making them relatable, fun, you cared about them. So I do have a lot of hope when it comes to what James Gunn can do to the characters and the cast. The movie does look a little goofy though, and it's supposed to be, like, I understand that. It looks like it's just trying maybe a little too hard, but again, trailer is supposed to give us a lot of kind of extreme moments to really hype us up for the movie. So maybe that's all that is, just maybe poor trailer placements. I think they're doing a good job of not making this just a Harley Quinn movie, it seems, but again, we'll kind of have to see when it comes out.
Yeah, all very good points. I think for me, I'm a little bit more optimistic, but almost in a negative way, if that makes any sense. It's just that DC and Suicide Squad and just movies in general over the last year and a half have been so utterly disappointing. Not unanimously. I mean, there have been some treasures in this pile of crap, but across the board, most were very not good. So I just have sort of like very, very, very low expectations for a lot of these. Because, I don't know, good movies are few and far between now. And I hope that changes. And I hope that when things get back to normal, and I hope a lot of things. But right now you see a movie and you're like, God, that looks really, really bad. But maybe it'll make me laugh. But maybe it won't be as bad as I thought. Like the Snyder Cut or like Kong Godzilla, where you're like, these movies are like a C-, but thank God they're not an F. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with Suicide Squad. Like, if it can just be a C-, I'll be stoked. Because the last one was not good, and most are not good. So yeah, hopefully we can get a little James Gunn Guardians magic with this, and have at least a complete movie, and a competent movie, and maybe a mildly clever, funny movie. But like I said, at this point, C- is a win for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's totally fair, because let's be honest, not a lot of superhero movies, monster movies, blockbuster movies in that sense are really trying to be, the next winner at the Oscars. I mean, sure, there are some things, the animation, the costume design that deserve it, but a lot of them
soundtrack with Guardians.
Yeah, soundtrack, exactly. But a lot of these, I don't think, are trying to like make or break just the movie industry. They're trying to give you a good time, have fun, enjoy the movie, and hopefully that's what Suicide Squad 2 can do. I think James Gunn should be able to deliver that, and they're bringing a lot of D, F, Z characters into this movie. Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man. I love Polka Dot Man. He's so stupid. He's so the dumbest villain. I love him so much.
Yeah, that's why I've never loved Batman too much. I thought his villains were dumb for some of them, like Polka Dot Man. But we'll see what happens. What was that?
It's wild. He's got like the Joker and the Riddler, and even like Penguin solid, and you got some like A-tier villains with him. You got some of the best baddies across, like DC and Marvel. Some of the best baddies are Batman.
Yep.
But then you get Polka Dot Man and what?
Calendar Man.
Calendar Man. Yeah. Some of the dumbest things. And I guess you could say the same. It's not just a Marvel or DC thing. I'm not trying to like make a point here. I don't have a stance with it.
Thing.
Yeah. Scarecrow's great. I even like Zsasz. He's a psycho. Like, that's a cool villain.
Love Zsasz, yep.
It's so cool. And what? Now he's fighting a crocodile kinda thing, and he's one of the better ones? I think Spider-Man's got some weird ones too, but nothing like Polka Dot Man.
An Egghead.
Crazy
Quilt. They got desperate. Sweet Tooth.
Was it like the 60s or was it one of the 80s? I can't remember. There's a
lot of 70s. A lot of 70s, yep.
Between the two.
Yep. The eraser.
That hippie generation.
Literally a pencil that erases the characters on the... Yeah. It got
that's kind of clever, though.
For a while.
The hippie generation kind of had a lot of weird... Everyone was dropping acid and quitting their jobs, and so they were just like, I don't know, the pencil, and he erases the book so we don't have to finish it. Yeah. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Oh, man. So we have that to look forward to, is see Polka Dot Man and a talking shark, and who knows what else. Rick Flag is coming back, though. He was really cool in the first one. One of the only, I liked him. I think Margot Robbie did a great job, and I think Will Smith, although like I think the writing kind of hindered him from doing some things in some of that, but I think he had some great scenes. I think that first shooting range scene is fabulous.
Yeah.
I think his acting when he fired it and it was a real bullet, and the genuine like, I don't know, it was just really good. He nailed some of that. So I have hope. You know, they're bringing back the good, they're cutting out the bad, and leave it to the Guardian of the Galaxy to see if he can give us a competent movie.
Do you know who is voicing King Shark?
Who?
Sylvester Stallone.
Get out.
I love how James Gunn is like, what's like the weird character that doesn't say a lot of lines that is just really dumb? Oh, yeah, Groot? Yeah, let's get Vin Diesel. Let's get some just meathead actor to do it. King Shark, he says
great.
hand? Sylvester Stallone, I think he can handle that one.
Good old Sly. We need 2 words. Let's get him in here. And don't make them, hey, Adrian.
Yeah.
Oh my god. At least with Vin Diesel, he had some experience having no lines in an animated picture. I mean, he was the Iron Giant.
Yeah, like Triple X. Just kidding. I love that movie growing up, so.
Oh, that was awful. Didn't they make more of those? Wasn't that an awful franchise?
I think there was like 2 or 3 of them.
Oh, man. God. I mean, basically, the Fast and the Furious movies are now just Triple X sequels at this point. There's nothing to them, man.
Oh, man. All right. Now we're done kind of crapping on Vin Diesel and Sylvester Stallone like we do a lot of different actors at this point.
No hate towards them, man.
Oh, I love Sylvester Stallone.
They're not on our Tim Allen list or anything like that.
Oh, no, like they're great actors. They've just had stereotypical bad roles at times. But, next...
And we can change. We're not heartless bastards. Zack Snyder went from my full-blown shit list to I like the guy. Not a fan of most of his pictures, but I like the guy, you know?
Yeah.
So we're not heartless beasts here. And by we, I mean me, because you've only said, like, 2 negative things about anything other than, like, Wonder Woman 84 and Kong Godzilla. So, I don't know. But we do have 2 other trailers to chat about. Both exist in the Marvel Universe. One is for a movie, one is for a show. Let's do the show first, because we're not TNC TV show nights, but we still want to talk about it. And that's the Loki trailer just dropped. We had WandaVision. It was pretty damn good. We are in the heart of Falcon and the Winter Soldier right now, which so far, at least in my experience, has been pretty damn good. And then a week after that ends, we're going to get Loki, which hopefully will also be pretty damn good. And then we'll get to see a movie, maybe. Who knows? How you feeling about this one, Brando?
To kind of jump into it first, I guess. I loved WandaVision. I've watched 1 episode of Falcon Winter Soldier. Really didn't care for it, and I'm gonna start watching again. The first episode, like all shows, is really boring. They had to do the lead up and stuff, and I need to catch up finally. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that going soon. But Marvel has done a great job with the shows so far. Realistically, I mean, even prior to these 3 shows with Daredevil and Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and the one that shall not be named, the 3 of those are really good. So I'm not worried about Marvel on their shows. I'm very excited to see what Loki can do here. I don't want to talk about Iron Fist. I'm sorry.
It's like that Tom Segura bit. You know, I have 3 kids, or a doctor and a lawyer, and yeah, but you have 4 kids. Oh yeah, he's just out back.
Yeah, he's just out back. Just trying to figure stuff out. Exactly.
Oh, man.
And
can't all be winners.
Yeah, you always can't have winners, and I do think these 3 could be winners, though, with Loki, Falcon Winter Soldier, and WandaVision. The Loki show looks great. I mean, it looks really cool for what we got to see. Tom Hiddleston is insanely talented, and I'm excited to see a possibly 10-episode series about him. A lot of really cool stuff. Loki is one of those characters that is really confusing, just like Wanda Maximoff, and we're going to get to really dive into it and have a better understanding about the character, which is super exciting.
I tell you what I hope to see the most, maybe out of anything in the entire show.
What would that be?
I want to see a scene where Loki has to pretend to be Owen Wilson's character, but not in the way we've seen Loki be characters before, like the full camouflage where they just get the actor to stand in and then they film it and then they do a transition scene. Okay. I want him to have to pretend to be him without his powers, just so that we can get a canon Tom Hiddleston Owen Wilson impression, because I don't know if you've ever seen his Owen Wilson. It's pretty damn good,
Yeah.
and it's really funny, and I think I would almost rather see that than a classic Owen Wilson wow, which I think we gotta see. Marvel is self-aware enough to know that everyone who's watching that knows Owen Wilson, and they know to look for a wow. And I hope they give us that. And like I said, moreover, I hope we get to see a powerless Loki. Basically, not even. I don't want to see Loki do. I want to see Tom Hiddleston do an Owen Wilson. I think that would be hilarious, and I so hope it happens.
I would love if the only wow we get is from Tom Hiddleston having to pretend to be Owen Wilson. That would be like a huge pat on the back for Marvel, just to be like, you know
That
what?
would be killer.
That was great. That was fantastic.
That would be killer. Oh my god, that would be absolutely killer. I so hope that happens. And from what I've seen so far, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really good. There's gonna be a lot of like the banter so far, which is like Loki's wheelhouse. You know, there's so many things to like about his character and Tom Hiddleston being him, but some of the banter is just A+ material, and we've already got a lot of it in the trailer. I get high hopes for this one. This one I'm actually excited for. Not like I'll be happy with the C-. Like I'm expecting this to be good, and I'm hoping this will be good, and I'm really pumped for it.
That's totally fair. I know we're both very excited about it, so we'll probably bring it up on the shows again. I know you and I were not super excited for WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier, but we ended up really liking WandaVision so far.
Yeah.
And, Falcon Winter Soldier, I mean, I still need to catch up, so I think Loki's going to be good enough where we just have to talk about it on this show as well. We'll see, though. You know, we'll see if it happens.
Absolutely.
But the trailer, all in all, was a lot of fun, really good. A lot of great Tom Hiddleston moments of just the mischievous Loki.
So great. So great. You've literally stabbed people in the back 50 times. That was great.
It'll never happen again.
That's the stuff I'm talking about, man. The back and forth between them is going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So I like the Loki look, too. Him and just like the trench coaty overcoat sort of thing. And without the giant horns. Those were great, but seeing him just kind of have to dress up like a normie, that'll be fun. I'm sure it'd be easier for him in the costume department, too. I'm just excited.
Honestly,
I'm also... Go ahead, bud.
I would say to me, it feels like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie or the shows, it feels like Loki is more like John Constantine from DC in these movies with a trench coat. I don't know if you've ever seen the Keanu Reeves John Constantine or just Constantine or just the TV shows as well. But that's kind of the vibe I get off from it, and I love it. So
I kind of dig that. I was thinking a little bit more X-Files, but I think that nails it even better. Where, this is gonna be good. I'm also excited for the other trailer that dropped. A little less confident, maybe, but the new Black Widow. I think the second trailer for Black Widow also just dropped recently, and we got to take a look at that. And this one was interesting because the first trailer, it definitely seemed, at least to me, a lot more like lighthearted and kind of quirky and quippy and like, oh, you know, we know Black Widow has a very troubled past and she has a very dark sort of inner story that we're going to take a look at. So we knew it wasn't going to be just a happy, bouncy fun time. But at least from what we saw, that was sort of the surface layer of it, of like, we're going to make jokes and this is going to be fun. David Harbour's in it, and I love David Harbour, and he's, you know, he's played serious roles like in Hellboy and in Stranger Things. It's not just a comedy, but he is sort of that lighthearted, funny aspect to the show with that sort of pained core to him. Mm-hmm. And he plays it really well, and I think he's a great casting choice for this one. But trailer 2 seemed to more focus on that. This one seemed a little bit more sort of like introspective and a little bit darker and less surface level ha-ha-ha's, but like, no, this is a story about pain.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with you on a lot of aspects there. The trailer was very surprising for what we got in the first one. It focused a little bit more, as you mentioned, like the more darker sides of this. I think the big thing that really kind of wowed me in the trailer, though, I thought Black Widow, because it's more martial arts based and special ops kind of stuff, it was going to be a lot more boring in the action sequences. However, we saw the scene in the trailer where the car exploded and it transitioned right into the plane exploding and falling apart. And I don't know if you saw me just gushing when Taskmaster pulls out the sword, like stabs into the plane piece that's falling and just slides down it was so cool, I thought. And I think we're gonna be really shocked on some of the great moments that do happen in this movie. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I for some reason, and we've talked about this several times before, but I think that this is going to have heavy impact on Phase 4 of Marvel. And
That's fair.
very easy softball there. Like, yeah, no, duh. Every movie has a heavy impact. That's why they have the movie. They don't just release movies to not matter. But I think that a lot of this is going to have some immediate fallout because, like, think about like Captain Marvel. You know, the last time they did sort of a look into the past type of movie, then the next like all of the next movies were heavily impacted by what happened to that. You know, we saw Captain Marvel, and I think this one. This might introduce like Florence Pugh coming in and taking over Scarlett Johansson's role as Black Widow, and I think that would be rad. Or and even David Harbour's character coming back. I don't know if he's even gonna live through it or what's gonna happen. But also Taskmaster, if he sort of comes back and is one of the main baddies for Phase 4, I think that could be really interesting. Or they could just beat them all, and they were just like, we did, you know, Black Widow deserved her own story. This is a beginning, middle, and end, signed, sealed, delivered. But I really don't think that's going to be the case.
The thing I want to see most out of this movie is I want to see Taskmaster going to be introduced to the Marvel Universe of being like, he's going to show up again. Maybe not, probably not as the big bad sort of thing. Maybe he'll show up as a villain that maybe whoever the next big bad is maybe hired him or brought him onto their team. That's something I'd really like to see that I don't think we've seen Marvel do yet. We've seen a lot of, here's this big bad villain, he's the one big guy, and that's kind of it. I kind of want to see like a team of villains. And Taskmaster would really fit that role, I think, really well. So it'd be
maybe
interesting.
Like not the attitude of Loki, but like the recurrence of Loki, and like, because correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the comic book head between us, but isn't Taskmaster, he's almost always a baddie, but he's also kind of like almost Deadpool-esque, where he's more of a merc than just a bad guy, and he like has like a school where he teaches people how to learn how to fight. It's usually the bad guys, but he's teamed up with Deadpool a couple of times, and they're usually not doing great stuff.
I don't
but
know
he's not just an evil. I want to do bad. He's like, I'm in this for me, and if it happens to side with the goods, great. And if it's not. Kind of like Loki.
I think Loki's probably the better comparison rather than Deadpool, because Deadpool has kind of turned over to more of the hero role. He's kind of just a bad hero, in that kind of anti-hero sense, where like Venom. Like Venom is too much of like an anti-hero. Like he's good in the movies, but like he's got a bad undertone to the character. Taskmaster's just bad. But I guess like there are times he can kind of be considered an anti-hero, but from my knowledge, he's like, I would probably say like 95% just a villain. But he has had
good times were more like him doing bad things to worse people. So you're like, I guess technically that helps, but he's still doing the bad thing.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good way to look at it then. So,
isn't he normally a Spider-Man bad too? Or am I crazy?
From my knowledge, his first appearance was in the Avengers, and he's been a big Avengers villain, but he has kind of become more of a, I think, Daredevil and Spider-Man villain over the years. I'm pretty sure. I know he shows up in the Spider-Man game.
Oh, maybe his next thing of him like sticking around in the MCU is for Spider-Man 3 then. Because they're also going to introduce maybe not Daredevil the hero, but Matt Murdock, right? In Spider-Man 3, that's what he's going to be as like Peter Parker's lawyer.
Yes, there have been a lot of different talks about that. From my knowledge, that's what he's going to be. That would be really cool to kind of see them kind of throw in Taskmaster, because the cool thing about him, his whole superpower is the ability to copy people's fighting styles. Like he'll fight Spider-Man, and Spider-Man will like web him up or throw like a web grenade or something like that. Next time they fight, Taskmaster, web grenade. Like that's the kind of stuff he does. Like he imitates and understands and like is able to mock your fighting style to be able to be better than it. So I'm sure we'll see Black Widow do some crazy like almost like breakdance move sort of thing, like spinning and flipping up and kicking, and then we'll see him do that later. So that's kind of the cool stuff that we will see the character do, I'm sure. That's why he's a great Daredevil villain, because Daredevil, a lot of martial arts. Spider-Man, a lot of martial arts mixed in with a little bit of web shooting, so.
Yeah, he'd be a bad Hulk villain because Hulk, there's not a lot of technique there to steal, and he also like he doesn't take the powers, he just takes like the technique, right? So like he's not gonna just you can't fight a super strong guy and then just have super strength, and so he could just be going around punching stuff randomly and be like, oh, okay, well he's pretty easy to dispatch with the Hulk over here, but yeah, definitely those more martial arts ones, or even if he's fighting like Cap or something like that, which who knows if there's gonna be a Cap, who's gonna be Cap. We don't know. Maybe that'll play into it. It just feels like everything is setting up for. Basically, I think that Doctor Strange 2, the multiverse, and Spider-Man 3 are just going to blow the hell up when it comes to Marvel. That's going to be the spot. That's going to be like the turning point where we eventually look back on everything. Like there's going to be pre-multiverse Marvel and post-multiverse Marvel.
Yes.
And I think all of this is setting up for that explosion, and that's what it's going to be. Like in 10 years, like the first 10 years and then the next 10 years, I think that this is going to be that point. And so I think a lot of this, all of these shows, the WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, I think all of these, the movies that are being set up right now, how we see, the Peter Parker reveal as Spider-Man and the Black Widow introducing Taskmaster, I think all of that is going to come to fruition in those two movies. And then it's going to be, holy crap, this is the new Marvel. Everything's different. Everything's changed. Forget what you heard. That sort of thing.
Just a full-on reset. I definitely wouldn't be surprised at that. It'd be pretty cool to kind of see where they go with it. And I do think that, I do agree, like, Black Widow could be a really big turning point for it, but then I do think Spider-Man and Doctor Strange will kind of just be the complete flip of what's going on. So it's going to be really cool. I'm excited to see what happens, but yeah, kind of just give a little bit of a rundown. Taskmaster villains, pretty much the entire Fantastic Four. Spider-Man, Iron Man, Elektra, Daredevil, Moon Knight, so maybe we could see him return in a Moon Knight show when that officially comes out.
Okay.
That'd be pretty cool. Punisher, Nick Fury, Captain America, Winter Soldier. So those are kind of
like you said, all of the guys who you'd want to see him fight because he can, reasonably copy their techniques and styles and things. Because even if he's fighting Spider-Man or whatever, like you said, he can just here's a web grenade because this is a thing that I can make and copy. It's not an unattainable super skill.
Yeah, the only other two that I see on here that are kind of that odd areas, there is Captain Marvel and Ant-Man. Those are two of the other ones apparently.
Interesting.
Kind of curious if he copies Ant-Man's sizing. Maybe. That'd be pretty interesting. That
would be interesting. Get some hands on some pin particles or something. I don't know. Yeah. We could just be talking about all this, and then he's just a one-off baddie that they kill in this one. Who knows?
Oh, I'd be so sad, man. He's one of my favorite villains. But,
yeah.
You know what? I won't spoil what I'm going to say. Never mind. I mean,
okay.
It's a spoiler to a Spider-Man movie, like previous that happened. It's been out long enough. All right, Spider-Man spoiler for Spider-Man Far From Home. They killed off my favorite villain of all time, so like maybe they'll do it again. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Any other news?
Or did they? Because he's tricky. He could come back. Maybe he wasn't dead.
Fair. It could have been some hologram stuff that could have happened there. So you know what? You're possibly not wrong there. But do we have anything else on the list for today?
I think the only thing left that we got to tell people is where they can find us, Brandon.
Oh, yes. You can real nice and easy, thenerdchambers.com. Check us out on there. You can find all of our different shows on there, like our streams, twitch.tv/thenerdchambers or twitch.tv/TNCpenguin. We also do have our video game show on there. Sorry, not video game show, but our card show, TNC All Things Cards. And then if you want to support the movie nights or any other TNC merch, we got our merch shop on there too, TNC Movie Nights, me and Alex right there. Alex is sporting the TNC logo as well. But that's pretty much it. If you want to follow us on social media, if you want to contact us, have an idea for a show, or possibly want to come on the show, let us know. Always figure something out. But that's just real nice, simple TNC Movie Nights. Alex, anything else for the people?
That's all I got. I'm Alex. He's Brandon. See you guys.